In this video, we're going to talk about the caged method. One of the things that I didn't realize about the guitar for a long time, it seems kind of obvious now, but I wish somebody had pointed out to me, is you have a lot of overlap. It's not like a piano where you go up to the keyboard and every key, every key that you press down equals a specific pitch, and only that pitch, and there's no other key on the keyboard that is exactly that same pitch. So as a result, it kind of lays out in a way where everything sort of makes sense and is visual and all that. Guitar, you kind of have to work for it a little bit more. What I mean by that is there's 2 or 3 different places to get exactly the same pitch, and you choose based on stylistically what you're trying to accomplish, or any number of different reasons. But it can lend to a lot of confusion about how to navigate on the neck and how to make things make sense. So the ultimate goal is to get to the point where you know how to navigate on the neck anywhere you need to based on what's necessary. And the way to make that happen is the caged method. The caged method is a way of using the folk chords, which were probably the first things that you ever learned, and using them as kind of boxes, like jigsaw puzzle boxes that snap together up and down the fretboard to make it all make sense and give you reference points and kind of navigational aid so you're never lost. What I mean by that is I'm going to take these folk chords, the C chord, the A chord, the G chord, the E chord, and the D chord, and use them to play a C chord up and down the neck. So what I mean by that is I'm going to make all of these movable and put them in different places. So they're still the same shapes, but they become a different named chord. So it's still an A shape, but it's actually a C chord. So what I mean by that, C chord, we'll start there. Key of C, I'm going to play a C chord everywhere on the neck using those basic shapes. So I start with the C, obviously. Now the next one, I can use that same root and hinge to the A shape of a C chord. See how they kind of just lock together like jigsaw puzzles. So I've got the C shape of the C chord, the A shape of the C chord. Notice they share a root. Now I'm going to jump to the G shape of a C chord. Oops, got that one wrong. There it is. This one's a little bit impractical. You're not going to find yourself playing this chord very often, but it's a really useful kind of intellectual crutch, so you know how to play out of it. You're not going to be playing the whole thing, but you'll play pieces of it or play scales out of it, play riffs out of it, that sort of thing. So we've got the C shape of the C chord, the A shape of the C chord, the G shape of the C chord, and then that hinges, here's my root, that's the C. That hinges to the E shape of the C chord. Now, this is a good time to point out, this E shape, what I mean by this being the E shape is all I've done is I've taken probably one of the first things you ever learned, the E major chord, and I'm just moving it up. It's the same shape. I've put it, so I'm playing it with 3 fingers, slapping a bar down, moving it up so the root is on C. Now I've got the E shape of the C chord. Now finally that brings us to the D shape of the C chord. This one's a little bit weird because it's the only one that's not rooted on the 5th of the 6th string, but it's definitely a worthwhile one to learn. And then the sequence starts all over. It's a little bit harder on an acoustic guitar to get up there, but I'm right back to C. And this, I mean, if the neck were infinitely long, this sequence would just continue to go. C, A, G, E, D. C, A, G, E, D. You're choosing to play the notes sequentially and fill in some of the gaps between the notes rather than just playing the chord. So that brings us up to the G shape of the C chord. Again, this is a G moved up. And this is going to bring us to pattern 5 of the pentatonic scale, which looks like this. So again, they're just kind of overlapping right on top of each other. Now that brings us up to pattern 1 of the pentatonic scale, or the E shape of the C chord. There's the E shape. They're the same thing. It's a different way of addressing the same spot on the neck. They're boxes where you can drop everything into.